going to talk about the wonderful Mr. Heathcliff from the wonderful book of Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Now, this is what we know about Mr. What was his name? Mr. Heathcliff. First, we know he's an orphan. We know he was brought back he lives in England, Liverpool to be exact. And we know that he's a male, obviously. Now, Heathcliff is a little boy that comes from Liverpool by Mr. Unshon, brings him to the household, and he ends up falling in love with Catherine. And their love is very tragic, but yet, it's kind of their personality. They are very, there's such drama. The people in the book are very dramatic. Now, Heathcliff is not dramatic at first. He's nice, he's kind, but he gets beat on by, what's his name? By Hindley. Hindley is jealous of him, and so he gets mad, starts beating the crap out of him, pushing him to the ground, belittling him, and is very, very negative towards Heathcliff. Now, Heathcliff is only a young child at this point, and he grows up, and he's still kind of belittled. And when his father dies, then Hindley takes over the household. And Hindley is very evil. In fact, he says, hey, Heathcliff, goes, yeah, I'm here. I'm your brother. And he goes, no, you're not. You're going to be my slave, okay? You're going to be my slave. And Hindley goes, oh. And so Heathcliff becomes Hindley's slave. Now, after that part of the book, which is really compelling, which he becomes a slave, he's treated as a slave, kind of by Catherine, by the nanny who raised him, and pretty much everybody in the family treats him like a slave at that point and stuff. So he is a slave. So then after he becomes a slave, he overhears Catherine talking about how she wishes Hindley was, like how he overhears Catherine and saying that she wants to marry Edgar, and that Heathcliff is so low and it would make my life just unbearable and stuff. And Heathcliff goes out and runs away. Now, we don't know where he goes exactly, but we do know that he might have gone to be a soldier, or to like an Indian camp and stuff, where he traded, and so that he can get more riches and stuff for his items and stuff. So there is some suggestion of that in the novel. But we don't necessarily know where he goes, if he goes in the army, or if he goes away to get rich, or really exactly how he gets rich. And if he goes in a foreign area, which apparently he does in a way. The novel suggests that he does, but it doesn't really say. It just kind of suggests it. So it's left up, but I think what he did is he went to a foreign land and he made wealth and stuff and got wealthy. And so he comes back in like 3 years later, and Catherine's like, oh my gosh, I love you. And so they fall in love again, but it's kind of like hopeless because she's already married. She's already taken, and he is single, and he's too late. He's too late to win her heart. And so he comes too late, and it breaks his heart and it breaks hers. Throughout the novel, he still is sweet to her, I believe. But he's also kind of on the realization of, no, we can't be together because, you already, said that. And he kind of sticks on that belief that, they can't be together. And he then he marries Isabel. Isabel is Edgar's sister, and they don't. He takes out his abuse on Isabella for having looked like Edgar, and even he abuses her because, he really doesn't love her, and he tells her that. He just tells her, I don't love you, I love Catherine. And, she gets mad, and, yeah, things happen. And she gets beaten up, and he ends up liking to beat her and stuff like that. Then after that, after he beats her, he really turns from the worst. After he beats her, and that's kind of his first act of violence, I think. There's no real act of violence throughout the novel until that part. Even when he's like with Catherine, he doesn't really act violent towards her. He just said, no, I can't do this. But then he acts violent towards Isabella by throwing a knife at her and stuff. That is like the first violent act, really, and that freaks people out. So then after that, we deal with his grief for Catherine, and he comes visiting Catherine secretly while she's pregnant and everything, and she dies, has the baby, but dies, and he just gets so upset and he gets so mad and he gets angry, and he starts raging war. Basically, because of Catherine's death, he rages war on people. Like, he has this kind of ambition to basically destroy people's lives. So, of course, Isabella has a son named Linton. Linton goes and visits his father frequently, and Linton basically gets beaten too. Heathcliff starts beating up Linton, but doesn't kill him. He just beats him up and belittles him, kind of like his brother did to him. And Linton is very scared. Now this is often almost a trickery thing, but Linton, Catherine has a daughter with Arthur, and they have a daughter named Catherine, and Catherine comes out, and she somehow gets to Wuthering Heights, where Heathcliff lives now, and she kind of visits Linton because she likes him. She's interested in this guy, and so she visits him, and they kind of form a relationship. Not love, really, but they kind of form a relationship. And so they form a relationship. Heathcliff forces her to marry Linton by capturing them in the town, and in Wuthering Heights, and and he forces them to marry, and they marry, and she really doesn't have that great of a life because Linton brings Catherine down. But Heathcliff is very negative. He punches Catherine, he makes her bleed, he's very disgraceful, he doesn't like people at all. He's very mean to people, and that's just it, and he's very mean. Even when he dies, when, like, the last part, he goes crazy when he ends up going crazy, seeing Catherine all over the place, and then he dies. And it's a really dramatic scene, but it's really creepy. Like, oh my gosh, like, he is the meanest. He's meaner than Uncle Scrooge, if you ask me. So I did really like this book, and I loved Hindley's character, and I just wanted to talk about his personality. I do think he's mysterious, and we don't really know exactly where he came from, and I wish that we could figure out where he came from or who he is and what's so mysterious about him and stuff. So yeah, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye!